Hey everyone, welcome back to Measure and Mix. Today I'm making some Dollar Tree Farmhouse Coastal Beach Decor. And if you are new to my channel and like home decor and DIYs on a budget, make sure to hit that subscribe button and don't forget to ring the notification bell so you get notified when I upload a new video. Alright, let's get started. This DIY was inspired by something I saw on Kirkland's website. It's a little beach house hook decor, and I had these 4 arrows from Dollar Tree. So I just went ahead and cut the twine off, and I'm going to fill in the holes with just some hot glue. You could use wood filler or wood glue if you have that on hand. I just tend to use hot glue since I'm always working with hot glue. The next thing I'm going to do is line these houses up side by side, and I'm going to hot glue them together. So you can see here that I'm just hot gluing them together right there at the little roof line that sticks out. So I'm going to have one on top of 2 houses and then another one at the end that's on top. Now what I'm going to do is use these 3 spray paints to create a ombre effect on these houses, which is kind of what I saw on the Kirklands ones. So I took the darker color first and sprayed that on the bottom, and then took the lighter blue and sprayed that in the middle, and then ended it all with the white at the very top and around the top of the sides. And I think it turned out really pretty, and the ombre effect really worked with just the spray paint. The next thing I decided to do was add some nautical rope to the roof lines. That way, so it just stood out a little bit more. The ones on the Kirkland website had some extra wood pieces on it, and I just thought it needed something extra, so I thought the nautical rope would look good on them. So I just used some hot glue and just lined those roof edges with the nautical rope and cut the excess off at the ends where the roof stopped at. The next thing I decided to do was add a window to each one of these houses because I thought they looked a little plain. So I had these wooden chest pieces that come from a wooden chest set from Dollar Tree. They are just flimsy little pieces of wood, but I painted them white, and they were perfect to stick on my house for little windows. So I just placed one on each of the houses in the middle and hot glued it down, and I don't know, I just think it gives it more of a beachy effect for some reason. The next thing that I did was add the hooks. I got these hooks at Dollar Tree. They are in the auto parts hardware section of Dollar Tree, and I just flipped over my sign and hot glued the hooks onto the back of the houses in between the houses. So I just placed some hot glue on each side of the bottom of the houses and then placed my hook on there. And of course, this is not something that is going to hang anything heavy duty. It's just for decorative purposes. And then the last thing that I did was add a piece of nautical rope to the back with some hot glue to make a hanger. And I think these turned out to be cute, perfect beach houses. For this next DIY, I'm going to be making some fishing orb decor with 2 of these round glass vases from Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to give them a sea glass effect with some regular old white school glue, and I just poured that onto a plate, and then I'm going to add a couple drops of some blue and green food coloring, or more if I needed it, just to give me the color that I want it to be. Once you get the color that you like, all you need to do is take a foam brush and paint the inside of your glasses. Not the outside, but the inside. And it will be streaky in some parts, but don't worry, it will dry pretty clear. Once it's all painted, you want to make sure that you dry the glasses upside down, so that way if the glue drips, it drips outward and not all inside the glass and you don't see the drips. Once it was all dry, now I'm going to add the twine effect, or I don't know what you would call it. I guess it's kind of like a macrame effect. So what I did here was I just took a piece of twine and doubled it over, and then I tied it into a circle that fit the bottom of my glass vase, like you can see here. Then I am going to take some hot glue and just hot glue that knot onto the top, and then hot glue the other side so that way it won't move around on me when I'm tying the other pieces of twine to it. Now I'm going to take some more twine and I'm just going to double that piece over again, and then I'm going to take the loop and pull that through the circle that I placed on top of my glass candle holder or vase, whatever you want to call it. And then I'm just going to loop those bottom pieces through that loop to make a loop so that way it stays on my circle twine thing that I made. And I'm sorry I'm not explaining this very well. It's kind of hard to explain, but I hope you guys can see what I am doing. I did this all the way around the vase about, I think it was like 8 times is what I did. You can do it more or less, how many ever you want. It's up to you. And then once you get those pieces on, you want to take these strands at the bottom, one from each knot that you made at the top, and then you want to take those two and you want to knot those two together, and then you're going to do that all the way around the candle holder. And you want to make sure when you're doing it that you're lining them up so that way they are even. As I was doing the second set of knots, I did go back around and put some hot glue around that first top loop up there just to hold everything down as I was going and to make sure that it was all staying in place. And then once I got that second set of knots done, I came back and did a third set of knots, and I did it the same way. I just took one strand of twine from each knot, and then I put that together and tied it into a knot, and then I just measured to make sure that my knot was going to sit on my candle holder or vase the way I wanted it to, and then I did that all the way around the glass as well. So I ended up having 3 sets of knots, or 3 rows of knots on the vase, which I think worked out perfectly for this size. Once I had all the knots done, I just flipped over the vase and I pulled up the excess pieces of twine and hot glued those down to the rim or the inside of the vase just a little bit, and you want to make sure that you pull tightly when you are hot gluing so that way it doesn't fall apart on you and it looks neat and nice. And then once I got all of the pieces of twine glued down, I just cut the excess twine, and that was it. They were really pretty and perfect for some coastal decor. This next DIY is super easy. I have a ton of these glass gems from Dollar Tree left over from previous projects. They are never ending. So I just picked out the color that I liked. This is a blue-green sea glass looking gem, and I have 22 of them to work with. So what I'm going to do is take some fishing line. This is my husband's. I just found it out in the garage, but I just wanted it to be clear, so that's why I'm using the fishing line. And I am going to place a gem upside down, place a little dab of hot glue, and then place the fishing line on top of it, and then add just a little bit more hot glue, and then place another gem on top of that gem and sandwich the fishing line in between the 2 gems. And then I'm going to do this for all 22 beads until glass gems, until I run out. And this is going to give me that kind of coastal farmhouse bead decor that I'm looking for. And once I run out of beads, I'm just going to go ahead and cut the excess this fishing line at the bottom there. So one side will just be the gem, and it holds really well. And then the other side, I'm going to make a little tassel with some twine. So I just wrapped it around my 4 fingers a bunch of times, and then took another piece of twine and just tied it at the top and wrapped a little bit of twine around that and hot glued it, and then just cut the bottom apart, that loop apart. And then I'm going to feed the fishing line in between the loop at the top there and tie it. And that's it. It's super simple and really pretty for some farmhouse coastal decor. The last DIY is just as easy as the previous DIY that I just did. I am just going to use this mason jar from Dollar Tree that I lost part of the lid to, and I'm just going to take the rest of the lid off, and I'm going to use some nautical rope, and I'm just going to start off at the bottom rim there and hot glue some nautical rope all the way to the top of the rim. And then once that's finished, I'm going to take this little metal house that came from Dollar Tree a few years ago, and I'm going to cut the little roof line off on both sides. This is one side right here. And I'm going to take that roof line and I'm going to wrap the end of a piece of nautical rope with that piece of metal, so that way not the painted piece of metal shows, but the actual piece of metal shows. And I don't know, this reminds me, I guess, of like a little nautical lantern that you would see, and they always have the little metal pieces wrapped around the nautical rope for the hanger. So that's kind of what I was trying to replicate. So I did that on both sides of the nautical rope. Be careful because the metal is just a little bit sharp. I used some pliers to help me bend the metal, but it was pretty easy. It's pretty flexible metal. Once I got those pieces on, I just hot glued those sides to the sides of the nautical rope on the jar. And I have myself a little hanger. And then lastly, I'm just gonna take a candle. Typically I would use an LED battery operated candle, but I didn't have one. So I just placed a regular one in there and added some of those gems inside, and you have a pretty coastal lantern. Thank you guys so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed these coastal DIYs. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.